folks, this is gonna be a little bit of a different video. I've decided that maybe showing off my week is going to be a little helpful. I've got a couple months to show real improvement in my oil painting. You're gonna follow along. We'll see how long I can keep this up for. Maybe it'll just be this week. Maybe this will be the whole shtick until I go back to oil pastels. Who knows? But follow along with me. We're not cutting just there. I've got other things to show you, such as over here, just off camera. This is my painting rig. So I have a small easel here. That's where I keep my pot cans, apparently. But also my reference materials. I have beginnings of my first painting. Just doing a baseline for my skills right now. I am doing a redo of last year's 50th painting, which is this little shimp here. It's okay. It's not great. I feel like I can do better. So I've gessoed it in black paint and this Tri-Art sludge. I really like this. It's just spare pigment that they basically scraped off of the factory floor and put it into a gesso medium. So it's just like a little bit off-white. It's good. I like it. Shall we get going? Okay, our first clip is coming up. This is going to be the first painting of the week. This is 3 paintings in total, I believe. And this first one is going to be the shimp. Now, I gotta say, this easel is pretty nice. It's only from the Michaels. It's the Michaels one that I bought a couple months ago, and I did those couple of faces on it, and they didn't turn out that good. And, well, one of them turned out okay. The other one is kind of not great. But it's kind of been sitting there collecting dust a little bit. I think I've painted on it once or twice since then, but other than that, it's mostly just been decoration. And I'm looking to change that with this exciting new project that I've got going on. And to start it off, we have the shrimp. My fiance is accosting me because I just called it the shrimp and not the shimp, so maybe we'll just refer to it as the painting from now on. So I went over this first part of the shell way too much, trying just to throw whatever on the wall to make sure it's stuck. I think it's close to 30 minutes of footage on just this one segment, and then I realized what I'm doing and I forced myself to move on. This painting though, this shimp, if you will, is mostly an exercise in learning how to properly mix colors. It is one thing that I'm kind of bad at, or that I don't consider myself as good at as other things, is actually mixing paint colors together. I tend to use way too much white, and they usually end up very chalky looking, and I'm trying here just to use just enough white to lighten the pigment load without washing it out and making it look like I'm drawing on a sidewalk. Yeah, see, the tail is a little bit closer to the kind of color that I was hoping to get throughout the whole of the shrimp. I will get better at that. That's just like a practice thing. That's seeing the color that you want in your head and mixing the goo together until you get what you want going on. That'll happen. I've got a couple months to work on that. That'll be fine. Everything will be fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. Another thing that I'm looking to work on here is maybe the amount that I actually blend. Sometimes you want a bit of chunky color, and my goal is to learn to be okay with that. I am gesticulating wildly as I talk. You cannot see it. It does not happen on screen, therefore it doesn't exist. But I am doing it. And the point that I am gesticulating about is that it's all a process. It needs to happen eventually, but I've kind of let it fester a little bit with the oil pastels, because oil pastels look good when you blend them, in my opinion anyway. And the smooth transition of color that you get with an oil pastel is completely different from the smooth transition of color that you get as an oil paint. I think that a little bit of chunkiness in my oil paint will translate better to my oil pastels too. You know, get more texture going on, get a little bit of flavor in the sauce. I think it'll be good. So we're just about done the majority of this whole painting here. I should point out that the black on the background is a black, it's a mix of gesso and like black acrylic paint. Nothing special about that. I just like working on a dark canvas, and making a white canvas black is easier than making a black canvas purchase. You know how hard it is to find straight black canvases, and you gotta gesso them anyway, so what's the point? So I'm just gonna use black paint to make a canvas black. It's just science, people. Also, I don't actually know if like mixing, I've seen colored gessos, so I imagine that there's something different about it, but I don't really see anything different in how the paint sticks to the surface by using black paint in a gesso. So if someone can explain that to me before I Google it, because I probably won't Google it, I'll probably just keep doing what I'm doing and maybe make the process 10 times worse for me than it should be. Because that's like my brand. That's like my whole brand, is just making things difficult. And I do that very well. I am A+ in that regard. So Shimpy's done. I might go back over it with a black oil paint later, but I kind of like the dark lining around it. It looks ugly. I'll probably go back over it with an oil paint if I decide to, but I'm not doing it right now. You can't make me. Nobody can make me. So the only thing left to do is to actually title this, and I decided to title it on the front because I am very proud of it and I want to ruin it. That's also on brand for me. Thank you, and on to the next segment. All right, so it's about mid-afternoon the next day. I've got this one just sitting and drying. I like how it turned out for a first attempt, but I've got to start trying more complicated stuff. So I'm gonna try a face. This is the point. Hi, this is unusual for me to chime in on this part. This is the point where I should have looked back at my footage and realized that it was messed up, because this whole segment past this is just, it's bad, folks. If you want to skip it, you have my permission to scrub through the footage, but just know, and I'm sorry. So this one, I don't even know what's going on here. It's focusing on something on the back wall, and it's just pulsating like a gross human heart, and it's such a pain. I was so upset when I noticed this, because the way that I'm painting, the viewfinder, or the screen, I guess. Nobody uses viewfinders anymore. They use screens. Screens are in, buddy. The screen is obscured by the rest of the camera. I'm just very barely off screen on the right hand side of picture, and I can only see the hand grip of the camera right now. This is basically what I'm trying to say, and failing very badly at it. So I can't see the screen. So I don't notice until about 3/4 of the way through the recording, maybe all the way through the recording. I certainly didn't recognize that as a problem in the intro to this particular part. Intro, outro. I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is that I am a bad camera person and I should feel bad. That is maybe a thing that I should take a class on, but this semester is about oil painting, not about camera taking. And besides, I have a fiance for all the important camera taking stuff, so it's not really a problem. But I did learn at least one important thing on this particular shot. Don't use a black oil pastel for an underpainting. The black will spread and it will taint all the color that it touches. So maybe don't do that. Maybe use like a neutral gray, like a light or a mid-tone gray, or like maybe a yellow, maybe something that doesn't have a whole lot of tinting power to it. Certainly not a blue. Don't use a blue. Blues are just, they're right out. They're right as bad as blacks. So yellow, or maybe like a light pink. I don't know. It kind of depends on what sort of undertone you're looking for your painting. There's really not much to say about this one. It's just a bad painting. It's poorly done, poorly executed. I like the color on the background. That's about it. That's all I've got time for. Anyway, this one is nice and short. I'm gonna leave you here. Bye-bye. So I got home and I decided to actually look at the footage that I did yesterday. And it is unusable. The camera just keeps pulsing in and out of focus the whole friggin' time. I mean, it wasn't that good of a picture anyway, so it doesn't change much. I'll probably throw up a couple seconds of footage. I don't know. I gotta do it again. I gotta do it again. So this time I've got, last one was an 8x8. This one's an 11x14. And I'm gonna do something pretty. So come along. Okay, here we go. This is it. The culmination of my efforts for this weekend. This is the night after I got home from work on Sunday. I am exhausted. I am such a sleepy child. But I power through it because dang it, 3 is a nice number to put into a video. 2 is like that's just tacking one on. 1 is, well, you're just cherry picking, so you're not really showing the culmination of your work and what you're showcasing for improvement, because this is also for recording purposes. It's not just austerity. Is that the word? Hold on, I'm gonna Google something. So Google Dictionary tells me that I am clearly talking out of my butt when I claim that I know what English is, because austerity means either sternness or severity of manner or attitude, extreme plainness and simplicity of style or appearance, or conditions characterized by severity, sternness, or aestheticism. None of these are what I meant. What I meant was posterity, which all future generations of people. So this video will survive the apocalypse. Cockroaches will learn what art is from this video and will grow into a golden age for arthropods everywhere. That's the future that I dream of. Those are my children. So for this painting, I gotta talk about the painting sometime. I can't just rattle on about the difference between cockroaches and silverfish or whatever. I can't even remember what I was talking about before. It doesn't matter. This painting is on the screen. I'm looking at it right now. It is what matters. So this painting, I'm trying to pull in some of the stuff that I do with oil pastels, particularly with the eyes. It's a completely different method of deliverance. Obviously it's a stick versus a paintbrush. It's not going to be the same, but I hope to bring what I learned from it. And I feel like the eyes are the best part of the face. And really, once you get the eyes done, you can just kind of look like a pile of goop on the rest of the face, and nobody's going to notice because they're going to be like, oh, well, you do the eyes really well. And that's really what matters. And it's about at this point where I see like, hey, I've done a good eye, and I've done, the shading around it is halfway decent. Not gonna win any awards or anything, but it's certainly not the worst that I've done. I think the worst that I've done might have been that thumb back in June. But this one, it's here now. It's what matters, and I'm gaining confidence, and I'm doing good, and I decide to keep pushing it, and then I start running into some problems. And that's always how it goes, isn't it? You think you're doing good, and then just life kicks you. And this is both the blessing and a curse of doing things while you are fatigued, is that you cannot rely on thought to get you through it. You kind of just have to let your body do what it does, because your brain is too tired to run the show anymore. So you end up really figuring out what you do know and what you don't know, and what you do know and what you think you know. All very different things, and they all come up very quickly when you're as sleepy a child as I am. 3 minutes in. I think this might be a record for the least that I've actually said while talking constantly. The right side of the face, the side that's pointing away from us, is all in shadow, so it's going to be very brown, because I don't know how to make other shadows. I do know how to make other shadows, but I just don't, because I'm a sleepy child. This is actually looking a lot better on camera than it did in person. I do go in and I darken some of the areas, like the nose gets a little bit redder, and the cheek gets a little bit more fleshing out. I mean, it doesn't have any fleshing out right now, so I guess that's not really saying much. But dang it, just let me be proud of it for 1 second. So this whole thing is going down. Let's talk a little bit about my personal life for a little bit, because I know you folks love to hear about my personal life and all the nothings that I've got going on, all the plates that I'm juggling. I go through a lot of plates, but just yesterday at work, I'm dating myself here. If people who know me personally are watching this, they're gonna know what day I'm talking about this on. My boss was excited that I was starting oil paints, and we were talking, and she asked me what kind of oil paint that I used. I don't exactly remember how this conversation went, because my memory's not that good in general. Like, I'm really good at remembering certain things, but other things just completely fly right out of the nest, and never come home again. They go out for a pack of cigarettes, and I'm mixing metaphors here. The point is that she wanted a reason to talk about our store's products. We don't sell Winsor & Newton, kind of on the basis that you can kind of get them anywhere. Like, anywhere there's a Michaels, you will be able to get Winsor & Newtons. They're a very common brand. And my boss is just kind of looking for, like, extraordinary, rather than easily sellable. So she took me down the oil paint aisle, and she put put a pack of whole beans in my hand and said, here, you can do something on these whole bean duos, as long as you make a video about it. So expect that in the next couple of weeks or so. Probably not this coming week. Well, maybe this coming week. I haven't decided yet. I haven't recorded anything for this coming week. I'm about to. Just as I am recording this, I've got a canvas drying with gesso, and I'm gonna start recording then. That was a fun day. That was an interesting day. Okay, back to the painting. So, I'm not really worried with using realistic skin tones. The palette that I'm using is very much not a skin tone palette. I'm missing some of the major stuff like alizarin crimson and burnt sienna, and just like all of those like brownish reds that just make the skin glow so beautifully. I do have green. I have a good green. I think it is the Winton Viridian. What else? So this cheek bothers me, so I clean it up and make it brighter. It's all like very flat so far. I think that the part that stands out the most are the eyes and the lips, which again, if you're doing a painting or a drawing, generally people will follow the eyes will follow the gaze from the eyes to the nose to the lip, and they'll kind of stay in that center section. And if you get those ones mostly right, like maybe 60 to 90% there, they will consider the painting good. You know, this is not counting like critics or like people who know how to criticize art, or not criticize, but critique art. They will analyze a painting. I'm talking about people like, I'm talking about your mom and dad that you show your painting to, and they're like, good work, champ, we're gonna put it up on the fridge. Holy crap, this segment is almost over and I feel like I've said nothing. So, in conclusion, this is the best part that this is the best painting that I've done. So those are the 3 paintings that I've managed to do this weekend. My final thoughts. Painting is really friggin' hard, first of all. Didn't know if you knew that, but it's a little difficult. And it's not a skill that I have inherent. I'm gonna have to work real hard at it. She's kind of pretty though. Well, not pretty, but like in keeping with my style, she's kind of neat. I feel like there is somewhere to go with that. Hopefully by the end of this coming week, I'll have gotten my check and I can start taking lessons, and you'll follow me through the lessons. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.